Hey everyone and welcome. Have you ever wondered what makes a lesson like a really great lesson? The kind that actually sticks with you? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a masterclass in teaching. We are going to deconstruct a legit expert lesson plan, and our guides for this whole thing? A bunch of super cute baby pandas.
It all starts with a simple image like this one. Adorable, right? But the real question, the one we're here to answer, is how do you get from just looking at a cute animal to having a student who can deeply understand, analyze, and even write about it? That's the secret we are unlocking today. So here's our game plan. We're going to break it all down into 5 key parts. First up, we'll look at the blueprint for the entire lesson. Then, we'll see how to spark curiosity. We'll jump into 2 really powerful reading techniques, then see how to make learning truly active, and finally, we'll open up the teacher's toolkit to see what big ideas we can take away from all this.
All right, let's dive right in. First, the reading blueprint. Every great structure, whether it's a skyscraper or a lesson plan, it starts with a solid plan. It's all about knowing exactly where you're going before you even take that first step. So at the heart of this lesson, you've got these crystal clear goals. First, you want to get the students to predict what the text is about before they even read it. Second, teach them 2 totally different ways to read, one for the big picture and one for the tiny details. And finally, the big one, empower them to actually create something new themselves. These are the targets we're aiming for.
And here's how they pull it off. It's this brilliant, simple framework. Engage, study, activate. Think of it like a 3-act play for learning. First, you hook their interest. Then, you let them dig into the material. And finally, you get them to actually use their new knowledge. Let's see how it plays out.
Okay, so let's get into part 2 and see how this builds. Sparking curiosity. This is the engage phase, and it's so important. The whole goal here is to warm up the brain. Get the students leaning in and excited before they've even laid eyes on a single word of the story.
And it all kicks off with some simple brainstorming. The teacher just shows the picture and lobs out these easy questions. Now, this isn't just idle chit-chat, right? Every single one of these questions is designed to wake up the knowledge the students already have, pulling what they know about pandas to the front of their minds so they're ready to connect it with new information.
Next, the teacher does something that is just so smart. It's called pre-teaching vocabulary. The whole point is to knock down any potential roadblocks before the students even get to them. By defining a key word like kindergarten up front, the teacher makes sure nobody gets tripped up later. It basically levels the playing fields for everyone in the room.
And you see the exact same idea here with the word newborn. It's another little barrier to understanding that just gets swept out of the way ahead of time. With each of these words, the whole class is building a shared vocabulary, getting them ready for the text they're about to tackle. And one last one, tumble. So now, with these keywords in their back pocket, the path is totally clear. The students are now equipped, they're confident, and they're ready to read.
Okay, so the stage is set. The students are primed, and now the teacher finally reveals the title of the text. Ni Hao from Panda Kindergarten, China. This is the very first real clue about the story they're about to dive into. And boom, right away the teacher asks this critical question. This is the moment that transforms the students from passive readers into active detectives. They have to make a guess, form a hypothesis about what's coming next, and that simple act of guessing gets them personally invested in finding out if they were right.
Which leads us perfectly into our 3rd section, from skimming to scanning. This is the study phase. The students finally get the text, but here's the kicker. They aren't just told to read it. Oh no. They're taught to attack it with 2 very different, very strategic purposes.
And this slide just nails the difference, doesn't it? Skimming is when you read fast to get the general vibe. It's like getting a bird's eye view of the whole forest. Scanning, on the other hand, is when you're on a mission to find specific information. It's like you're on the ground looking for one particular tree inside that forest. 2 different tools for 2 totally different jobs.
So first things first, skimming. The students read through the text quickly, and I mean fast, with just one job. To answer this one big picture question, is the story about adult pandas or baby pandas? That's it. This forces them to focus on the overall theme instead of getting bogged down in the details right away.
Then, they go back in for round 2. But this time, they're scanning, and it's basically a treasure hunt. They have a list of specific questions, and their mission is to dive back into the text and pinpoint the exact words or phrases that hold the answers. Now, they are reading with a laser-focused purpose. This brings us to the final and honestly the most crucial phase of the whole lesson, making learning active. This is the activate phase. This is where the magic happens. It's the point where information actually transforms into real usable knowledge.
And the teacher uses this super simple but really powerful tool to make it happen, the 5-finger summary method. By answering the classic who, where, what, when, and why, students are forced to organize the information they just dug up. It helps them lock in the key facts into a summary that actually makes sense.
And here it is, the grand finale, the final challenge. Students are asked to take all the pieces they've just learned, the new words, the story structure, the facts, and apply it to something they choose. They go from being consumers of information to creators of it. And that is when you know the learning has truly stuck.
So let's zoom out for our last section here, the teacher's toolkit. We've just walked through this incredibly detailed, beautifully crafted lesson about baby pandas. But what are the big underlying principles we can take away from it for ourselves?
And really, it all boils down to this. The engage, study, activate model, it's not just for a 5th grade reading class. It is a universal blueprint for teaching and learning effectively. I mean, think about it. Whether you're onboarding a new employee, explaining a complex idea to a client, or even just trying to learn a new skill yourself, this structure just plain works.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Yes, on the surface, this was a lesson about reading a story about pandas. But what if what we really just deconstructed is a fundamental blueprint for how the human brain actually likes to learn? Engage the curiosity, study the material with purpose, and then activate the knowledge by using it. Maybe, just maybe, that's the secret to teaching, well, anything.